Hey there, happiness seekers. Welcome to Elevate Daily, where we seek to give advice that can make your lives brighter and more fulfilling. Let me ask you something. Have you noticed how rare genuinely deep conversations feel nowadays? Not small talk, not quick replies, not surface-level chatting while distracted by phones. I mean real conversations. The kind where time disappears, where you feel emotionally understood, where someone speaks honestly, and you do too. For many people, those moments feel increasingly uncommon. And when they do happen, they feel surprisingly meaningful, almost refreshing. So today, we're going to talk about why deep conversations feel so rare now, and why so many people are quietly craving them more than ever. And before we dive in, if you enjoy thoughtful conversations about happiness, psychology, and emotional well-being, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Elevate Daily. Now, let's explore this together. Let's start with something important. Humans are naturally social creatures. But not all social interaction feels emotionally fulfilling. You can spend an entire day communicating with people and still feel lonely afterward. Because the brain doesn't just crave interaction, it craves connection. And deep conversations create a kind of connection that surface-level interaction often cannot. They allow us to feel seen, understood, emotionally safe. So if deep conversations are so meaningful, why do they feel so much rarer today? Well, one major reason is speed. Modern communication has become incredibly fast.
Messages, notifications, short-form content, quick replies, everything encourages rapid interaction. And while fast communication is convenient, depth usually requires slowness. It requires attention, patience, presence. And those qualities are becoming harder to maintain in an environment built around constant stimulation. Now, let's talk about attention for a moment. One of the biggest barriers to meaningful conversation today is divided attention. Think about how many conversations happen while scrolling, checking notifications, multitasking, half listening. People are physically present, but mentally elsewhere. And deep conversations struggle to exist in distracted environments. Because emotional connection requires focus. When someone feels fully listened to, something powerful happens psychologically. The nervous system relaxes. Trust increases. People become more open. But when attention is fragmented, conversations tend to stay shallow. Not because people don't care, but because modern life trains the brain to constantly shift focus. Now, here's something deeper. A lot of people are emotionally guarded today. And honestly, that's understandable. Modern culture often encourages performance over vulnerability. People feel pressure to appear successful, confident, emotionally fine, even when they're struggling internally. So many conversations stay within emotionally safe territory. Work, entertainment, memes, updates. But deeper topics, fear, loneliness, purpose, insecurity, meaning, often remain hidden.
Because vulnerability feels risky. And yet, ironically, vulnerability is usually what creates real closeness. Now, let's talk about social media for a moment. Social media creates the illusion of constant connection. You can interact with hundreds of people in a single day. But quantity of interaction is not the same thing as depth of connection. In fact, excessive digital communication can sometimes reduce emotional intimacy. Because online interaction often prioritizes speed and visibility over emotional presence. You respond quickly, you consume quickly, you move on quickly. But meaningful connection rarely happens quickly. It unfolds gradually through attention, curiosity, honesty. Now, here's another important reason deep conversations feel rare. Many people are exhausted, mentally exhausted. And emotional depth requires energy. When people are overwhelmed by stress, work, overstimulation, or anxiety, they often default to easier interactions. Surface-level communication requires less emotional effort. Deep conversations require openness and presence. And when people feel emotionally drained, that can become difficult. Now, here's something fascinating psychologically. Humans tend to mirror the emotional depth around them. If everyone stays surface level, most people will too. But when one person becomes genuinely open, others often begin opening up as well. That's why a single meaningful question can completely change the tone of a conversation. Questions like, how have you really been feeling lately? What's been on your mind recently? What's something you've been struggling with? Those questions invite depth. And many people are secretly waiting for permission to speak honestly. Now, let's talk about why deep conversations matter so much for happiness. Meaningful conversations do more than entertain us. They regulate the nervous system. They reduce loneliness. They increase emotional trust. They strengthen relationships. Research consistently shows that close relationships are one of the strongest predictors of long-term happiness and emotional well-being. And deep conversations are often what strengthen those relationships. Because people don't just bond through information, they bond through emotional honesty. Now, here's the hopeful part. Even though deep conversations may feel rarer, they are absolutely still possible. But they often require intentionality now. So how do you create more of them? First, practice being fully present. When someone speaks, truly listen. Not while checking your phone, not while preparing your response. Just listen. Presence alone changes the quality of interaction dramatically. Second, ask better questions. Many conversations stay shallow because the questions stay shallow. Instead of, how was your day? Try, what's been taking up most of your mental energy lately? Questions shape conversations more than people realize. Third, be willing to go first emotionally. Someone usually has to create the emotional safety. That doesn't mean oversharing with everyone. It simply means allowing yourself to be a little more honest. Authenticity often invites authenticity. Fourth, create environments where depth can happen naturally. Walks, late-night conversations, long drives, quiet spaces. Deep conversations rarely thrive in rushed, noisy environments. And finally, value quality over quantity socially. A few emotionally meaningful relationships often contribute more to happiness than dozens of shallow connections. Now, here's something beautiful. When you experience a truly deep conversation, you often leave feeling lighter. Not because every problem got solved, but because being understood is emotionally healing. It reminds you that you're not alone inside your own mind. And in today's distracted world, that feeling matters more than ever. Before we wrap up, I want you to reflect on something honestly. When was the last time you had a conversation that genuinely stayed with you afterward? What made it feel different? The honesty? The presence? The emotional openness? Whatever it was, that's probably what your mind and heart are craving more of.
If this video resonated with you, if you've been missing deeper human connection lately, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Elevate Daily. We're building a space where conversations go beyond the surface and where people can feel a little more understood. And I'd love to hear from you. Do you think deep conversations have become rarer? And what's one conversation you'll probably never forget? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might resonate with someone more than you realize. Until next time, listen fully, speak honestly, and remember, sometimes the most healing thing in the world is simply feeling understood. I'll see you in the next one.